It's showing we're live on my screen.
You know, this might be, so, okay, if you're watching, everybody, this is a total experiment. It's Dr. Michael Lennox here. This is Lennox Dreams, where I invite you to join me for a short segment of holding a dream that you've had sacred through the art of interpreting in the way that I do. I'm here with the lovely Emma. Emma's been a client of mine and a dear beloved for many years. And so thank you for joining me, Emma. This is, again, a bit of an experiment. So if you're watching this, this is like the first ever YouTube Lennox Dreams Dream Interpretation Show. Not so slick. Eventually, we'll get slick. Today, we don't really know what we're doing. We're doing our best to Zoom webinar our way into your dreamland through YouTube, Lennox Dreams. So let's just have at it. Let's get to it. How this came about, Emma reached out to me with a dream. I just felt like this instinct of, woohoo, well, let's hold this dream in a higher, holy, and more sacred way. And if you're willing to do this in a public way, you can join me on the show. And so why don't we start with the dream? Tell me what it was that happened in your nighttime landscape that caused you to reach out.
Okay. It came in the context of not having remembered dreams for a few months, which is very unusual for me. And this, seemed very vivid. So I was looking for a place to rent, looking for a home to rent. And it would appear I was in Bristol, England, where I used to live. And there was this house which had one room per floor. And there was a guy already living in it, and I was going to be sharing with this person. And I couldn't quite figure out whether he was in the top two rooms and I was going to be in the lower two rooms, or if I was going to be at the top. It was this curious, I couldn't quite figure that out. But I went down into the basement, which was a bathroom. And the first thing that got my attention was this big, beautiful, shiny, clean soaker tub. And I said to myself, okay, Emma, you have to remember, wherever you rent, you need to have a big, beautiful soaker tub to soak in. That's really important. That's a non-negotiable. So it had this, and there was a sink. Everything was very clean and shiny, but on this sink, on one side of it, there was some very bloody sort of cotton swabs, and there was blood in the corner. And the guy who was showing me around said, oh, I'm a research scientist, I'm a lab technician, and I've created this incredible sort of pricker, multi-pronged pricker that I prick people's earlobes, get me, eh? And take a blood sample. And so that's just what that is. You know, it's sort of nothing much. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. But then I looked across and there was another tub on the same wall as the beautiful, shiny, clean one, which had this big brown stain on one side near the plug hole and a few t-shirts, different colored t-shirts with blood stains all over them, sort of soaking in it. I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. But I didn't feel too kind of freaked out by it. It was like, well, at least there's this other amazing soaker tub that I could use. So that's all I saw of the house. And then I saw the location was on this steep hill, which is very Bristol. And there was a fabulous pub at the top of this hill, which seemed really important, where lots of people socialized.
And this is at the top of a hill.
Top of the hill. Oh, significant, clearly. Yeah. Where I knew that lots of people, I didn't know these people, but that they socialized there often and they were my kind of people. And that would be a real plus.
I love that phrase, my kind of people. I love that. Is that pretty much the dream?
That is the dream, yeah. And there was a subsequent piece the next day, which I think was in the same location.
Same location, town, Bristol, pub,
bathroom.
Hill, all
bathroom.
Okay. Oh, bathroom. Okay. In the basement. All right. I love so many things about this dream. One thing that I want to start, though, with is something that I just referred to as the ipso facto. It's a very big element of dream interpretation, of working with the dream, is what do you know by virtue of something that's present that is ipso facto as a result of the fact is. Like, so one thing that we know is something happened in this bathroom in this other tub, there's evidence of something that has already occurred, and it's bloody and messy and separate from the clean and lovely purification. So if a bathing is some sort of a purification ritual, the clean and beautiful tub sort of has one purpose that might be ritual, sacred, clean, cleansing, purifying. And then this other one that suggests change, transformation, something really deep and profound and bloody and messy has already taken place. So that's going to open up an inquiry between you and I when we go a little deeper about, well, what might this dream be portending or showing or giving you a snapshot of? It's definitely talking about a process of change and transformation that has already occurred and maybe even very recently occurred. And the clue about this is going to be through the person, the aspect of self that facilitated it, this man. So some action, some recent sense of action, masculine character aspects are more about things we do than things we receive, male, masculine doing. And what he facilitates is some change or transformation that's bloody that takes place with the earlobe. Now, this is killing me because the ear is about how we listen. But guess what part of the body the earlobe connects with in Chinese medicine?
The throat?
The throat.
Oh.
The throat, the voice. That's what's, this whole thing has, meridian connections to other parts of the body. And I sometimes get curious about that if, it's, hearing, speaking, voice, process, coming into my own, speaking my truth. It's a bloody process. It's a little messy. It's been cleaned up and it's somehow separate from what you already know, what's ongoing about transformation or purification or ritual, this beautiful bath. All of it, by the way, takes place in the basement, which means that we're in territory that's shadowy or foundational or underneath, stuff that's not visible. It's not about your public life.
Right.
And there's even something about the renting of this house that's interesting because it implies, well, it depends on your sensibility about buying versus renting. But I'm going to guess you're more of a homeowner type. So renting has an immediacy or a temporariness to the sense of self that's being explored. It's something that's not really yours, but you're going to rent it out. So the questions I'm going to ask you about what your thoughts about the timing of the dream is, how is this dream reflecting a new way of using your voice, a new way of listening and hearing things that are coming in that has already happened? So there's some consideration to be in about, how has this change that's already happened that was bloody and messy, how is it leading me more in the direction of my kind of people?
Oh my gosh. This is unbelievable. I don't know how much you know of this, but so you do know I went through breast cancer and it's changed my life such that I've stepped into my creative abilities and I've created a one-woman show called Breastless about going through breast cancer. And just on Sunday, this dream I would have had the middle of last week, I think, just on Sunday, I did the first major read-through performance and talkback of it.
Now, of course, I did know this.
Oh, you did?
Well, yes, because you and I connected, right? And I know what's happening with you, and I'm certainly on top of, which is why when I knew that there was a dream that you were having that was so prominent that I thought this would be, but I didn't know the dream. Like I hadn't heard the dream. I shared with Emma before we clicked into the live video here, sharing with you guys that I did not read the dream. I skimmed it enough to be like, okay, substantial dream. But it is hysterical to put together the timing of, as you're preparing in your waking life to use your voice very powerfully to tell a story about a recent change and transformation that was bloody and messy and difficult.
Damn right.
But done.
Oh my God.
Completed. That's really the important thing. Very often when people have scary dreams or with images that are yucky, there's a sense of, uh-oh. But this ipso facto piece is really important to consider. It tells us the change, the blood, the difficulty is in the past. The evidence is still here. Clean tub, messy tub. This dream is really about finding my kind of people.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and there's something about the pub imagery of people gathered. You talked about the people gathering to be in communal pubness, right? Not so different than people gathering on a Sunday afternoon who are your kind of people to come together to hear some sort of inspirational message.
And then to discuss it with me.
By virtue of the bloody.
Oh, right.
Now, not for nothing, the articles of clothing that are found around this blood-soaked, stained tub are t-shirts. They cover the breasts.
Oh.
Could have been any other article of clothing.
Yeah,
but it was specifically an article of clothing that very comfortably, and I'm wearing one.
Yeah, I can't wear them so much anymore. So, and actually, they're t-shirts that I wouldn't wear anymore because of my change. So
nothing is left out. Nothing is left out. So the dream winds up being very helpful to the process that must have been had some challenge into it of, you know, anytime we get ready to share something with the world that's vulnerable. How'd it go?
Oh, it went amazingly well. It was, yeah, it was, and it felt, and I had feedback of how I stood in my, grounded in my stance in the spotlight and spoke from my heart unapologetically, no self-pity, just this is what it is, and I want people to think about this.
I love that, and I'm gonna in bringing the dream message right into that idea of you being able to so powerfully stand in who you are, what your story has been, and share that story in a transformative way, is because not only have you been through something, which we know in the dream because of the bloody bathtub, you have also purified and cleaned yourself. We know that other bathtub. The idea is you have used both.
Right.
You have done a deep and profound surgical experience of change and transformation, and then
well, the biggest has been spiritual.
Right, of course. Thank goodness, because that's what's available in such a challenging life event. Now, you said that there was a coda dream, and that felt like it was connected. It took place in the.
So it was very. I think it was very, very close up. So I couldn't see much of the context apart from a bathroom sink.
But it felt similar or connected.
Felt like it was. And it was the close up of the rear of a baby, a small baby in a diaper, whose poop was just flowing out from the top of the diaper. And there were two other people in there who'd got it covered, and they just kept changing the diaper for this baby. And so that's okay. And it didn't smell, it wasn't yucky, it wasn't messy. It was just like, oh yeah, baby's got lots of poop.
Baby's got lots of poop. Okay, first of all, babies, new things.
Yeah. Right.
New projects, new ideas, new creative expression. You know, I don't know. I mean, you and I have worked so closely in the realms of astrology and coaching that you probably aren't aware of my love for poop. Well, in this way, the fundamental challenge of being in a body for a human being is shame. That's and what are we most ashamed of in terms of this is our poop. But what is poop? It's something that we actually construct. We create it. We make it. Our body is like a poop making machine. And so from that perspective, poop itself becomes a symbol of what it is we can create. In fact, and if you get literal about poop, it's like the poop I create is made by what I take in. Mm-hmm. And that's quite literal. If I eat this, my poop will be like that. If I eat that, my poop will be like this, right? So, but symbolically, the idea is that if I am free of shame, and that's why it's so scary to do something creative and present it to people, because we're still ashamed of our humanity. And that part would be like, don't look at me. Don't watch my underbelly.
Yeah. Especially because I really bring it, anger and everything.
In the show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The rawness. Yeah. Yeah, there are a few good Emma F-bombs in there too.
Yes, as there should be, because life is that. This is why I love astrology as a discipline, because it doesn't leave anything out. It doesn't ask us to be prettier than things are, or neater than things are, or messier and chaotic than things are, right? It's all right size. It's 360 degrees. But the second dream, now the second dream happened after Sunday?
No. Probably a couple of days before.
Okay, so
maybe even the night after the other one. So yeah.
Got it. So preparing you as you approach this vulnerable sharing with the world moment, it was also showing you that your creative resources are not to be ashamed of. No smell. They're endless, constant poop. And there are aspects of self that live within you that are designed to keep the creative process neat enough so that it doesn't become a crisis of poop. That's those two people who they got it. They're on top of it. You, the witness, you don't have to be worried about the details of what's coming out of me. Do I have to be concerned with it? Is it going to smell? Should I stop? Should I go? There's aspects of self that are already working to make sure that the flow, the creativity, the shame-free expression is available, because part of you is there making sure that the messy parts of it are handled.
How freaking amazing.
I knew you'd love this.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much.
What's the next sort of now that you've put this out in this way, what's the sort of next step?
Well, the next piece is I'm going to try and memorize it, because it was still a read through.
Okay.
And see whether there's a debate as to whether it's a theatre piece and whether it does become a show, a play. I would still want it to be in my voice and as a one-woman play. Or if it becomes something more for medical conferences, cancer conferences, more
as a teaching vehicle for the medical profession to sort of have a conversation about the humanity of care.
And I'm starting to think that as a piece, it really actually does demand talk back, that it promotes so many discussions. It brings up so many different things for people. And it's a work of art, so it's not kind of overt in, I want this to change like this. So to be able to have the conversation of what is it really saying about society too, as much as the medical system and our approaches to life and cancer and healing. And there's lots of big conversations that could come out of it. So I'm thinking somehow I want it to be, whether it's in a theatre and it's talk back, or whether it's in some other kind of venue. Not quite sure. So we're still holding it, still pooping.
Great, still pooping. That's right. It has a life of its own, and it will reveal itself to you if it wants to be. And I love the way your psyche, your unconscious, your soul's process allowed you to process and perhaps shift and alter any hesitancies that you might have had of revealing yourself so fully, such that in the days before, your soul did everything you needed to cleanse that stuff off for the dream, so that you could be more open, transparent, and available on Sunday.
Yeah. Yes, I was indeed.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing the dream.
Oh, wow. It's great. I hope it helps others too.
If you've been enjoying this, check me out. Email me at michael@michaellennox.com. subscribe to the channel. But you can email me and let me know you want to be on if you want to share a dream, and we'll do this on a regular basis. But thank you so much, Emma. I appreciate you helping me with this little experiment. So long, everybody.